Hey guys, welcome to our YouTube channel, I just forgot her name, Kels and Betzy, where we talk about everything raising capital, investing with purpose. I'm your host, Keleisha, and I got my gorgeous host, Betzy.
Betzy. Hey, everyone. Before we start, let's do a disclaimer. The following information is for educational purposes only. Please do your own diligence. We do not provide financial, legal, or professional advice, even though sometimes we do have professionals on here. We just talk about our experiences and how things have been going and are going with us. So it's all our experience and what we have done. So please go talk to your CPA, your attorney, whoever you need to talk to get that legal advice.
Yes, I mean, Betty was so excited to read that disclaimer. I was going to say something. So I was saying, I love your setup. She's like, let's get to our disclaimer.
Let's get to a disclaimer. Let's just, let's get all of the things out of the way.
Just get it out. But no, like I was saying, like, I really love your setup. It's like, it's a whole vibe. Like makes me want to upgrade, but eventually.
Thank you, you guys. It's Keleisha. She was like challenging me. She's like, "You need to do something with your lighting," and I was like, "I know lighting. It's just in this room, it's not working." So then, I don't know. I was inspired on our call last Thursday. I was just like looking at my screen, and I was like, "I can make this work. I could."
You can, and I think it goes back to I think someone even asked me this question. So they're like, "Oh, we're thinking of starting a podcast. What equipment do you guys use? What camera do you use?" I'm like, nothing. We didn't buy any fancy equipment.
Yeah, that's true. And luckily, like I have a background in photography. My husband has a background in videography, so we kind of know we have all the equipment that I have is stuff that I already had.
Which it makes it easier, but for like, I don't have a fancy camera, guys.
You guys could use your phone. Actually, you can connect your phone to the computer if you don't like your computer screen. It just your phone has amazing
I
cameras.
tried that on my end, and I just don't like how it looks. I'm like, I'll just continue to use my laptop camera until I get like the lighting and then another camera. And then for now, the lighting is not that bad because we always record during the day. So yeah, I got that natural light coming in. But don't worry, girl, I'm gonna be on your level soon. But guys, today we're talking about fund launch live. We're just doing a quick recap about this event that happened. I think it was in like May. Yeah, it was May and happened in Miami by Bridger. Oh my God, Pennington. I almost forgot his name. But ideally, that event was really about like anyone who's looking to start a fund, how to structure a fund, and set it up to resell a fund. At first, I thought it was like fund were like super complicated.
It
But
sounds super complicated. When I was watching your lives, and I have a lot of friends were there. I
yeah,
was experiencing super like a big FOMO. I was like, dang, I should be there. But it is super cool. It does sound complicated. I imagine like the legalities that you would have
that's
to
the
go
thing.
through. Like,
Our brain just think about the legalities and
yeah, that's
if
where it goes.
for itself. But when you learn all the stuff, it's really a fund is really like you're putting money together.
Hmm.
That's it. And you're pulling person's money together and you're purchasing assets or commodities. It's literally like if you have friends and family, like, hey, let's buy this car and start a business. And everyone puts their money together and buy that business. It's the same with funds, based on my understanding. It's just that now you have to ensure that you have an attorney and all that stuff because now you're pooling other person's money together, persons that you don't even know, and especially with
Dangerous.
millions of dollars. Like
Yeah, that I guess that's what's scary, you know? That's
that's
just
the
like,
only part.
what if I do it wrong? What if someone's not happy with something?
But
Like,
then
how
that's
do
where
you
you
take care of
get
that?
your attorney to make it so much easier. But honestly, it was for me first time like diving in to it. It was clear. I realized it's not difficult or technical. Um, Biggest takeaway from it was why I keep losing my train of thought. You cannot do it on your own.
Mm,
When you're doing a fun, it's best like instead of yes, you have YouTube University and you can go and you learn all the stuff, but then it will take you a longer time to launch your fund and all that stuff. But if you have a team or a group of persons who have done a fund before, then that can be super helpful because they know what steps to take before you even go to an attorney or how to start getting soft commitment, something similar to what we're doing right now. We get
yeah.
a bunch of soft commitments.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like what we do, just larger scale, like millions of dollars. And it goes into an account,
Yeah, that
not
is,
like an escrow.
and right. So it's, as you said, it's really like, it's what we're doing, but it's just on a larger scale.
Hmm.
But I'm glad that I went with the boys. Um, that played a you like, I think if I went to that event by myself, it would have been different. Different meaning I wouldn't have connected with so many different persons. Um, because if I went there alone, I'd be like, "Ugh, who do I talk to now?"
You
And then,
know, sometimes you get in your head. I mean, we all do this. We get in our head and we're like, oh my God, no one wants to talk to me. Like, who am I?
yeah, like I'm like, oh my gosh, like
That's why it's
who am I
important
gonna go to
to
lunch
have people who
with?
keep you accountable to that or like push you.
Yeah, so like, and it's because like they were networking, I was networking. They met someone. They're like, "Oh, this person's going here for lunch. We should go there together." It just it was a whole different experience because we're all there together. But I don't think, not saying you should not go if you don't have anyone else to go to the next event, but it's just good to go with a friend or a business partner or something like that. You
Yeah.
know, hopefully
Good trip.
exactly come at next year, next year's event. I think they just announced that they're gonna be in Orlando.
Have fun.
So that, and I
It's
think the next,
drivable distance for me.
you said drive.
That is a drivable distance. I mean, I've gone to Miami. I've gone to the Keys driving. So
That's like what, 10, 11 hours. No, I'm not a fan of driving.
me neither. I don't drive.
It's like, not doing it, not doing it.
Passenger princess over here.
But what I also learned that I did not even know, well maybe I did, but it wasn't that like
Click.
in, yeah, it didn't click. Pitching to investors, there is a different way to pitch to different investors, and there's a different way to pitch depending on what you're pitching about. So that was a little bit mind blowing for me because I'm like, you would think that you have this one elevator pitch for everybody, and apparently there isn't, because depending on the level of people, not even a level, this, it's not even status. But if you're in a room with, say, high net worth clients of 10 mil, there's a certain way that you would pitch rather than if you're in a room with persons whose network is below 1 mil. There's different way how you would pitch and approach
That
things,
makes sense.
right?
Yeah, that makes total sense. Because when I know at least I have, I've talked to people who have like 15, 20 grand and they want to invest. And they're like, that's kind of like all I have to invest. It's different than someone who has $500,000 and they want to invest, or $1 million and they want to invest. It's totally different. And like, I've seen that the people who have like 15, 20, they're more in the like, oh, let's like pull our money together to like get that down payment for that property.
Mhm. Exactly. So that one was like, that was pretty good too. Um,
Cool.
and it's really like even when you set up the funds,
Mm-hmm.
it's that's a whole business by itself. Like think about it, where if you do, I'm bad at analogy, but I'm gonna try. You buy a property, fix and flip. You buy a property, you fix it up, you find money, you fix it up, and you sell it. You can literally set up a fund, right? Structure it, everything like that, and then resell that fund. Which I didn't know that was a thing. You had speakers who that's all they focus on is getting funds set up and then sell it to another like fund manager, and that's how they made their money. So I'm like, I didn't know. I thought you could only, if you set up the fund, you have to be in control of it, purchase your assets. When the fund is done, it's just done. But apparently, you can set it up, and then when you set it up, you can sell it to somebody else.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I get it. It would be like little people over here, blue collars. For people with blue collars, the people who have contracts get insurance contracts and then they sell them to subcontractors.
Yes, that is exactly what it is.
Oh, oh my God. Okay, that large scale. I could that doesn't seem impossible. It seems
See,
okay.
it's not. And then you can have a fund.
Mm-hmm.
Again, guys, this is just, we don't have any experience with this. We're just sharing our views, sharing what I've learned when I attended that conference. You can have a fund and you could dedicate a portion of that fund to lend to other funds. Or a portion of that fund could be like, could also lend to buy, just as how we have PMLs, a portion of that fund could be used as a loan to other persons. It gets super creative, the things that you can do.
And do they have like restrictions?
So that's the thing. You have to have an idea what you want to do, so your fund is set up that way. Especially when you're submitting the paperwork and all that stuff to SEC, to make sure like you're abiding by all that stuff. So everything that you're gonna do with the money, you have to put that in your paperwork. If it's not in your paperwork, you can't do it. I think you would have to now go back to SEC, file a new form and all that stuff. So
So it's not like an amendment. It's more like
yes,
you have to refile it.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I even learned, like, if you're thinking of doing all of that, it's best to even talk to somebody who has already, multiple persons who've done like a real estate fund before, just to get like more background, especially if you're completely new. Get some background about setting up a real estate fund. So all of this stuff, I'm like,
I like that. Yeah, because we can build whole neighborhoods, do a whole development of condos. Like possibilities are endless.
yeah,
Fun businesses.
exactly. Fix and flippers even use a fund just to buy more fix and flip.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I'm like, when I heard, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. Because if you have a fund, if they're already pooling everyone's money together, they have a fund, they can be purchasing 3-4 properties in a month.
Yeah.
Especially if they're getting the deals, the deal flow. They just have their fund and they know what asset class they're buying. They know which area. They already know what they're looking for. So they're not buying assets that matches that criteria.
Mm-hmm.
And then it allows them to scale. So I'm like, that's another benefit of having a fund. It allows you to scale
Faster.
Yeah.
And what do you know any of the back end stuff for the investors? Like after they receive their profits, does it come out of the fund or does it stay in the fund? Or is that also something
So
that depends?
I think it depends how you structure it.
Mm-hmm.
You have like, if your fund is going to be open for 5 years, that means at the end of 5 years, you got to repay all the investors back. So even that too, you have to know how long is your fund going to be active for.
Oh.
If you don't, then if like in a 5 years and you want to keep it longer, I think now you have to close that fund and start a new fund instead of, I think you can do an amendment. I'm not sure, but I've heard that it's better for you to close that fund and start a new fund.
Okay. Is it typically 5 years?
No, you can do a fund for 1 year. You can do a fund for 9 months. There are funds that like really, really big companies who's in the fund space, like hedge fund men, those people,
Mhm.
they have funds that's 10 years. Yeah. So you can literally have the funds as long as you want. Again, you just have to put that in your paperwork. So your investors know all that stuff. It's similar, like, have you ever seen a PPM, a private placement memorandum? They use it a lot when they're syndicating.
Yeah, I haven't seen one, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I think you do a similar paperwork with all that detail.
Hmm.
So you do that when they're gonna do a whole fun thing. Um, I spoke with, his name is Ryan Miller. He also has a podcast called Making Billions, and he interviewed a bunch of fund managers, persons who have done a bunch of things with funds, who've raised billions of dollars. Had a great conversation with him, and his reminder, he kept stressing two things: R&R. And R&R stand for reputation and relationships. And when he was talking, I'm like, he always go back to the base.
Relationships, yeah.
He's like, no matter what anyone says, if you want to raise any amount of money, it's gonna always go back to your reputation. It's gonna always go back to your relationship that you have with people.
Yeah.
And he's like, you gotta always be building relationships all the time. And I'm like, huh. And when he starts sharing like stories from his past, how he managed to raise millions of dollars, he's like, it all came down to relationship. It wasn't, yes, his track record played a key role in everything, but the main thing was his relationship. And I was like, huh. See, guys, when we talk about relationships on or other videos, it's key. It's not
Very
like you just go to a lender like, hey, I need money now. No. You gotta like check in, and it's gonna be a lot sometimes, but you have to like check in. How's everything going? Because you're also staying top of mind
Yeah.
with those lenders. So you stay top of mind and it helps a lot. And
And they
last
even check in on you sometimes. They'll be like, "Hey, like I saw your episode last week." I'm like, "You did."
things, listen, and then sometimes when I see like I see someone's name, and I always have PML beside of it, and I see them calling, and I'm like, hmm, I wonder what now, because we're not working on a project. And most times they're just calling to check in.
Yeah, they check in on us. It's so sweet.
Like, okay. And it would turn into a 30-minute convo, an hour convo, but they're checking in. And it helps a lot because it's easier when they call, because then for us to reach out to all our lenders, it can be a lot.
And it's really more like, oh my gosh, I talked to you last week and I asked you about this property. I don't want you to think that I'm like trying to get your money. I just want to see how you're doing.
Yes, that's the thing. Um, but that I would say, like, if anyone's looking to start a fund or unsure if they want to do a fund or thinking of starting to pool money together or looking to scale, buy new construction, buy large hotels, you can explore the option of doing a fund. I would say do your research. What are the pros and cons of doing a fund? Find someone who has done a fund before and ask them for their feedback. And of course, go to YouTube University. There's everything.
Yeah, you can find everything there.
There's everything. Oh, a gem. Going through this process, one thing I've learned, if you want to find, and this is just I don't know if it's a thing, not a lot of persons know this, but if you're looking to raise capital, you need to join boards. Now, the question is going to be, where do I find or how do I join boards? Because if you're not a part of a big company or anything like that, how do you get on these boards, especially if you're not that experienced and all that stuff? There's this website called Boardsy. I just joined it. And what they do is you create like a profile on Boardsy and they actually connect you with different organizations who are looking for either board advisors, or they call them board advisors and board something. There, because there are two different levels. But once you set up your profile with them and everything like that, you are now able to like get access to companies who are looking for board members. You can apply there, and the company will actually apply for you. They'll set up interviews for you. Yeah, create a whole profile, everything. It is a membership thing. That's what I didn't know. And I'm glad the person didn't tell me before, because if they were like, it's gonna be a membership, I'll be like, no, I'm not doing it. But I signed up, and I think you pay like a sign up fee, then you pay like a monthly fee. But testing that out, we'll keep you guys updated on how it is and if it actually works. But boards is a thing if you guys want to join boards.
That's so cool. Yeah, because you would think that you'd have to have like connections.
Yes.
The TV, the TV will tell you.
Connections or like huge qualifications and all that stuff. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought so. And I was like, nah. He was like, you can go here and you apply. Some of being on those positions, some of it is free. Some of it you get paid to be on the board. Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a huge gem. That's a huge gem.
You literally get paid. And I was like, ha ha, just get paid and bring your expertise and give opinions. And sometimes they just want someone who's not a part of that space, like especially when it's voting and all that stuff, like similar to like a jury.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what boards are. They kind of like,
No, it was
they're the deciding factor.
and when they told me that, I'm like, okay, I'm definitely gonna check that out, because he mentioned it in his presentation and everything like that. And I'm
So
like,
far, how's it going? I know you have like 2 weeks
for the
in Board Z.
already. Oh, and boards, I just like finished submitting some additional stuff for my profile. So, and that's the thing too. They go and they create like a whole bio for you as well if you don't have one.
That's helpful.
Yeah. So I had to give them like, why do I think I'm a great candidate and why do I want to join? But for me to write that out of my head, it's a no. So I went to ChatGPT.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, did you use ChatGPT?
I use that to create like a whole bio. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna use. So now I just have to wait. So I submitted that, and I just have to wait and see what they come up with. I also can go on the platform and look on different board organizations who are looking for board members, and I can apply for myself as well. So I kind of like that. And lastly is networking. The connections that I've made at that event, it's phenomenal. Even if I don't want to use that even if I'm unable to use that connection now, I can use it in a couple of months or a couple of weeks, whatever it is. But the fact is, I have that connection for persons who have done billions, millions.
And you didn't do it by yourself either. You got another.
It makes it like so much easier. So I'm like, yep, that event was worth it, 1,000%. Definitely go in next year, because it was also a reminder that you gotta be in the right groups. Like, girlfriend, that event, that weekend, I was like, holy cow.
This is the right room.
This is the right room. Like, when you talk about $1 million, oh, I want to do a $5 million fund, and someone who you don't even know who's be like, why are you aiming for 5 mil? You can aim for 10 mil, 20 mil. He's like, it's not impossible. You have a team, push yourself. And I was like, holy crap. That it's again the right room, the vibe, the energy, the space, everything was spectacular. So highly recommend Fund Launch Live if it's something that you're looking to do in the future, now, whenever it is. But even if you just want to attend that event for the networking, it's worth it. It's literally worth it. But yeah, that was my take on Fun Launch Live.
That's awesome.
What did
And
you
we got some gems, a lot of them, especially that last one. That is so cool. I did not know that about the boards.
the boards? Yeah,
The boards.
I was shocked because they would say like go to local meetups and the networking events or go to a country club. But at some point, when you want to raise a certain amount of money or get in contact with a different level of people, you have to now, your approach has to be different. So it's like, how do you network or how do you find these people?
We can have a whole episode on that.
Huh?
We can have a whole episode on that.
On which one?
Finding people that are like,
yeah. It's insane. Like when you start asking other person, like, how did you find that person? How did you find this person? You have like one thing someone mentioned from that event. They're like, when you're able to have someone be like, the minimum I'm gonna write a check for is 3 mil. Yeah, the minimum. See your face, you're like,
we get usually the opposite.
yeah. So he's like, I've had persons told me come when he started his fund, he went to this guy who was worth millions. And the guy was like, come back when you're raising more money. Because the minimum I'm gonna write a check for is 3 million. And I'm like, levels. There's levels to this. But yeah, guys, that was feedback on Fun Launch Live. Let us know what you guys think about this episode. We will be doing more event recaps, the more events we attend or seminars, whatever is it that we attend. And if we think there was a really great takeaway, we'll come back and we'll share everything that we've learned. Betzy just keeps smiling.
Yeah. Please like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell.
Yes, guys. And share this with a friend as well.
Yeah.
Even if this episode didn't resonate with you or anything like that, check out other videos that we have where we have experts talking about raising capital, investing with purpose, how they're raising capital, how they're finding persons with capital. So check it out, guys.
And next Monday, we will be talking about pitch decks. So if you want to know how to pitch for a new investor or for someone who wants to invest with you, check us out. We're going to be answering questions and we're going to be live. So
it's going to be fun. It's going to be so much fun. But
yeah.
Thank you guys for listening, watching. Don't forget to follow us at Keleisha Carter, at _Life with Betzy on Instagram. Those are the best way to reach out to us. Like, subscribe, Kels and Betzy on YouTube. Until next time, see you guys.